All right. The good news is surface area and volume of spheres. These are the easiest ones. So this is a super easy section. The homework is on big ideas, 12.6. You also have chapter 11 and chapter 12 reviews on big ideas. Okay, do you have any questions? All right. First of all, what do we know about a sphere? It looks like a ball, right? Okay, so if we have, let's go here. So if we have a ball, and then we want it to be three-dimensional, then, oh, hello. Let's try that again. Then you would get this to go in here. Just enlarge that just a smidge. Okay, so you've got your sphere. Do y'all see it? Okay. So the parts of a sphere. So first off, we have a radius, surprise, and we have a center. We have a radius and a center because the sphere is just a circle. It is a three-dimensional circle. If you'll notice, this shaded region that it's pointing at is also a circle. Even more specifically, it's called the great circle. Okay, it is called the great circle because that is the largest circle in the sphere. So if you took the sphere and you started slicing it, making cross sections, you would see circles every time you make a cut. But the circle size will depend on how far up you are on the circle. Does that make sense? So you know how, like, if you have a grapefruit or an orange and you just trim off the top a little bit, you see a tiny circle, right? But if you cut that orange right through the middle, that's the biggest circle in the orange. Okay, and that's called your great circle. Okay, do you understand? All right, so here are our formulas. My surface area of a hemisphere and volume of a hemisphere I had to add to the bottom, but all your formulas are there. What I do want you to notice is that the surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. We know that a hemisphere is half of a circle, but yet the formula is not 2 pi r squared. It's 3 pi r squared. So how can I go from half being 3 when we know half of 4 is really 2? So can anyone think of why a hemisphere? So remember, your hemisphere looks like this. Half of a sphere. All right, we know that surface area is the amount of surface we can see, right? So if you have this orange, the surface area would be the peeling, right? So if I cut the orange in half, I do see half the peeling. I do see 2 pi r squared. But what I also see now that I didn't see before is the great circle, and the great circle has an area of pi r squared because it's a circle, and all circles have a formula for pi r squared. Well, if I see 2 pi r squared for the surface or the rind, and then I see pi r squared for the part I didn't see before, well, what is 2 pi r squared plus pi r squared? 3 pi r squared. So that's why the surface area of a sphere is not just half. It's half plus the piece you did not see before you cut it in half. And then the volume of a hemisphere is 2/3, or you could just say find the whole thing and divide by 2. That one's pretty simple. The good news is like I said, these are super easy. We're not going to use any decimals. We're going to find the exact. Exact meaning your answer will be in terms of pi. So if I need the surface area of a sphere, surface area is 4 pi r squared. So 4 pi, 4 squared, is 64 pi centimeters squared. Done. There's no guesswork to these because you don't have to figure out or ask yourself what's the base. The surface area is 4 pi r squared. No matter what, there is no base. It's just 4 pi r squared. Okay? If I wanted to take this sphere and do the surface area of the hemisphere, the radius is still 4, but this time I would use 3 pi r squared, and I would find the area of the outside and the great circle. So then we would have 3 pi r squared, so that would be 48 pi. Okay, do you see? Super simple. All right, find the exact volume of the sphere. So the volume of the sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. So 4/3 pi 18 cubed. Just type it in the calculator without using pi. And you get 7,776 pi centimeters cubed. Okay? Questions? All right, here we go. Now we have a diameter of 12. Well, neither one of my formulas calls for a diameter. They both call for a radius. So what is the radius if my diameter is 12? 6. So surface area is 4 pi r squared. So 144 pi. And that would be centimeters squared. Volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. The formulas are very similar, so be very careful. So we get 288 pi centimeters cubed. And no, they're not always going to be half of each other. Okay, just works this time. Questions? Okay. Sometimes you'll be given the volume or the surface area, and you're going to be asked to find something else, which means you're going to have to work backwards. If I've given you the volume, then you need to set it equal to the volume formula. Since the volume formula is 4/3 pi r cubed, then you need to set 4/3 pi r cubed equal to 4,000 pi over 3. Okay, you have to set the formula equal to what it actually equals. Now, what you would do to solve this is multiply both sides by 3 so we can clear out the fractions. So now I'm left with 4 pi r cubed equals 4,000 pi. Now if I divide both sides by pi, the pi's will cancel out. And if I divide both sides by 4, I'm left with r cubed equals 1,000. And what is the opposite of cube? Take the cube root. So r is 10. But it doesn't say find the radius. It says to find what? Surface area. So 4 pi r squared. So 400 pi units squared. So that is the surface area. Okay, so even if it wasn't an obvious question that said 4,000 pi divided by 3, you would still need to divide by 3 so you could clear the fraction from the formula. Okay? All right, number 5. If a sphere has a surface area of 36 pi, so the surface area is 36 pi. Well, I know the surface area formula is 4 pi r squared, so I need to set them equal to each other. So 4 pi r squared is equal to 36 pi. If I divide both sides by pi, pi will cancel out. And if I divide by 4, the 4 cancels, and I'm left with r squared is 9. Take the square root, r is 3. Now that I know the radius, I can find the volume. 4/3 pi r cubed. 36 pi. 27, I think. I may have discalculated that wrong. Yep, 36 pi. And that would be units cubed. Questions? All right. If the great circle, remember where that's at, has a circumference, so the circumference of the great circle is 36 pi. What is the formula for circumference? Pi d. So if pi d is the formula, pi d is equal to 36 pi, and I'll divide by pi. I find out that the diameter is 36. Well, if my diameter is 36, what's my radius? 18. So now I can find the surface area, which is 4 pi 18 squared, and the volume, which is 4/3 pi 18 cubed. So 18 squared times 4 is 1296 pi units squared. And this is 18 cubed times 4 divided by 3, 7776 pi units cubed. Questions?